Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. Now let's go ahead and get into some music news. We got a lot going on. This Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. Jennifer Lopez and Shakira will be the first time two Latin artists and Latin women have top billing together at the Super Bowl halftime. So that's history right there. Looking forward to seeing that. I just got a Billboard notification about Mace calling out P. Diddy. Apparently P. Diddy did a speech about how the recording industry doesn't care about R&B and rap artists, and they don't take them seriously. And so Mace calls him out and posts this super long Instagram post. You can check out his Instagram to see it. But he's basically saying like, yo, I tried to buy back my publishing from you for $2 million and you said no. He wanted to see how much some Europeans were going to buy it from him for. And the only royalty or money that he received from P. Diddy was $20,000, which was like over 20 years ago. So he's like, yo, I offered you $2 million cash and you turned it down. So basically what you're saying right now is BS. If you want to see that post, check it out. Apparently then Meek Mill tweeted something about, just come over to him and what he has going on with Rock Nation. They'll take you seriously. Now, following Kobe Bryant and his daughter's shocking deaths, Kanye West, a noted Kobe Bryant fan, hosted a post-Grammy Sunday service at midnight in Burbank, California, early Monday, January 27th, to begin the healing process. Snippets from the service have made their way onto social media. Kirk Franklin delivered a moving spoken word piece, while Chance the Rapper performed his verse on Ultra Light Beam. Kanye even freestyled a tribute verse in honor of his fallen friend. Kobe, we love you, brother, West wrote in a post dedicated to Bryant. We are praying for your family and appreciate the life you've lived and all of the inspiration you gave. The accompanying photo was taken from a 2010 studio session where the Laker legend actually helped Kanye finish his verse on the Power remix, and the photo can be found on Billboard. So, wife and mother of late Kobe and Gigi, Vanessa Bryant, broke her silence after 3 days with an Instagram post. She says, "My girls and I want to thank the millions of people who have shown support and love during this horrific time. Thank you for all your prayers. We definitely needed them. We are completely devastated by the sudden loss of my adoring husband, Kobe, and the amazing father of our children, and my beautiful, sweet Gianna, a loving, thoughtful, and wonderful daughter, an amazing sister to Natalia, Bianca, and Capri. We are also devastated for the families who lost their loved ones on Sunday, and we share in their grief intimately. There aren't enough words to describe our pain right now. I take comfort in knowing that Kobe and Gigi both knew that they were so deeply loved. We were so incredibly blessed to have them in our lives. I wish they were here with us forever. They were our beautiful blessings taken from us too soon. I'm not sure what our lives hold beyond today, and it's impossible to imagine life without them. But we wake up each day trying to keep pushing because Kobe and our baby girl Gigi are shining on us to light the way. Our love for them is endless, and that's to say immeasurable. I just wish I could hug them, kiss them, and bless them, have them here with us forever. Thank you for sharing your joy, your grief, and your support with us. We ask that you grant us the respect and privacy we will need to navigate this new reality. To honor our Team Mamba family, the Mamba Sports Foundation has set up the Mamba on 3 Fund to help support the other families affected by this tragedy. To donate, please go to mambaon3.org. That's MambaOnThree.org. To further Kobe and Gianna's legacy in youth sports, please visit mambasportsfoundation.org. Thank you so much for lifting us up in your prayers and for loving Kobe, Gigi, Natalia, Bianca, Capri, and me. Now, Roddy Ricch honored the late Kobe Bryant by rocking a purple and gold number 8 Lakers jersey during The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon performance this past Wednesday, where he performed his number 1 hit, The Box. Now, Reverend Run recalled the time when Run DMC recorded a song with young Bryant in 1999. Kobe Bryant was once signed to Adidas before his Nike contract. The late Lakers legend also enjoyed a brief rap career where he had a deal with Sony Records in 1999, but his debut album ended up being shelved. We met in the studio in LA because Kobe at the time had a relationship with Adidas, and we had that big record, My Adidas. So we hung out all night and discussed options of how we should make the record. He liked to rap. We knew he was a good basketball player that wanted to rap with us, and we had a great night, took pictures. Rev Run remembered all of this in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment. He goes on to say he was excited to meet us, and we were excited to meet him. It was just beautiful hanging with Kobe and starting to record a record that we never finished. So since the collaboration isn't finished, it's unlikely the track will ever surface. During the Grammy Awards performance alongside Aerosmith, Run DMC's DJ Charlie Chan held up a white number 24 Bryant jersey to honor Kobe at the Grammy ceremony this past Sunday. Now, Billie Eilish is set to take the stage at the 92nd Academy Awards on February 9th, and what the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science is billing as a special performance. This will come just 2 weeks after Eilish performed and won 5 awards at the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards. Earlier this month, it was confirmed that Eilish will perform the title song to the upcoming James Bond film, No Time to Die. Eilish wrote the song with her collaborator and older brother, Phineas. Eilish is the youngest artist in history to write and record a Bond theme song. Now, Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders' campaign announced on January 29th that the Strokes will be playing Sanders' Get Out the Vote concert rally on February 10th in Durham, New Hampshire. The Rage Against the Machine reunion continues. Boston Calling announced on January 28th that the group will be the 3rd headliner for this year's festival. Fellow headliners, the Foo Fighters and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, were announced in November. Rage Against the Machine will headline the May 23rd show, while the Foo Fighters will play May 22nd and Red Hot Chili Peppers on May 24th. More than 60 other artists, including Liam Gallagher and the 1975, are scheduled to perform at the music festival. Firefly also announced the same day that the band will be headlining its festival along with Billie Eilish, Blink-182, and others June 18th through 21st in Dover, Delaware. On the 20th anniversary of her debut album, Kaleidoscope, singer Khalees has accused the Neptunes of stealing the profits and publishing from her first 2 albums, Kaleidoscope and Wonderland. Dang, I was just talking about how I love the Neptunes produced tracks on the Kaleidoscope album a few weeks back when I announced that the Neptunes were reuniting. So in an interview with The Guardian, Khalees claims Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo ripped her off. I was told we were going to split the whole thing 30-33, or 3 ways, 33% each, which we didn't do. Blatantly lied to and tricked by the Neptunes and their management and their lawyers and all that stuff, she says. Khalees claimed she saw no money from the sales of her first 2 albums, which were produced by the Neptunes. It took her a few years to realize it because she was making money from touring, and just the fact that I wasn't poor felt like enough. She admits that she signed the contract, but was inexperienced at the time. Their argument is, well, you signed it. She says, I'm like, yeah, I signed what I was told, and I was too young and too stupid to double check it. But she isn't angry about it. To be honest with you, I think if it were not for my faith, I feel like that would probably be the case, she adds. It's very clear to me, especially being on a farm, that whatever you put into the ground, that is what is going to come back to you. When asked if she would work with Pharrell again, she responds, at that point, there's having faith and there's just stupidity. All right. So singer Ciara and football hubby Russell Wilson have announced that they are expecting their second child together. Taking to Instagram on Thursday, the Goody singer posted a bikini-clad photo showing off her baby bump while perched on top of a rock formation in Turks and Caicos. She captioned the photo number 3 and tagged her husband. Shinedown ties 3 days grace for the most number ones in the 39-year history of Billboard's mainstream rock songs airplay chart, as Attention rises 2-1 on February 1st dated list. Now with 15 chart toppers, Shinedown pulls alongside 3 days grace for the most leaders since the tally began in 1981. It's a battle that's been simmering ever since both acts became familiar faces on the chart. Both bands first reached mainstream rock songs in 2003, and 3 Days Grace's first number 1 came in 2004, followed by Shinedown's in 2005. Nearly 4 years after its last album, Sunset Motel, Reckless Kelly will be releasing not 1, but 2 new albums, the conceptual American Jackpot and American Girls, whose opening track, I Only See You With My Eyes Closed, premiered exclusively on Billboard on January 30th. The Austin, Texas Quintet's release will happen on May 22nd. Now, fresh off his 2 Grammy wins, Lil Nas X is responding to a homophobic rant from rapper Pastor Troy. Not a real pastor. He's a rapper. Pastor Troy tried to explain the reason why he won't be winning a Grammy. The Atlanta rapper posted a photo of the Old Town Road Grammy winner in his pink Versace Grammys outfit on Instagram, along with a lengthy caption, "Welp, guess I won't be winning a Grammy if this is what I gotta wear. They love to push this ish on our kids." But Lil Nas had the perfect response to the remarks. He retweeted a screenshot of Pastor Troy's tirade, writing, "Damn, I look good in that pic. On God." Pastor Troy came back with another post, but if you want to look all that drama up, it's on IG. Check it out yourself. Nicki Minaj has joined RuPaul's Drag Race as a guest judge to kick off the season 12 premiere. Minaj, who won the inaugural Game Changer Award at 2019's Billboard Women in Music ceremony last month, will sit next to judges Michelle Visage, Carson Kressley, Ross Matthews, and of course, RuPaul, when the 12th season debuts on Friday, February 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on VH1. Now let's take a break and return with some tour news and what's hot globally.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Now, Halsey scores her third number 1 on Billboard's Dance Club Songs chart, dated February 1st, with Graveyard. The track, remixed by Axwell and Artie, among others, follows Halsey's prior leaders, Alone, featuring Big Sean and Stefflon Don in July 2018, and Bad at Love in December 2017. Plus, on Hot Dance Electronic Songs, Cruella cruises at number 21 with Green Lights. The act earns its highest rank since September 2013 when We Go Down debuted and peaked at the same spot. Warner Chappell Music has signed Stephen DeGenius McGregor, the award-winning songwriter and producer who has collaborated with Drake on Views, Shakira on El Dorado, and more, to the global co-publishing agreement. The Kingston, Jamaican native has also worked with the likes of Neo, Estelle, Sean Paul, and Damian Marley. The deal includes all of McGregor's future work as well. Now, Lil Baby is putting fans on notice. In 1 month, the Atlanta rapper will release his highly anticipated album, My Turn. Taking to Twitter on Thursday, he simply tweeted 2/28/20, which would point to the February 28th release date. On to tours and festival news. Original reggaeton diva Ivy Queen will kick off a new album and single with the launch of a 19-city tour beginning February 13th and ending March 29th. The Arise No Rama Tour, Root Not Branch, I guess is the translation, begins at Barcode in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and will play clubs and theaters all along the East Coast before heading to the West. It will be Ivy Queen's first ever bus tour, with the artist documenting her travels via a podcast. In 2010, Cruz and Juan Arnea Lacera. My apologies on the Spanish pronunciations. I am terrible at those, clearly. But they started a colorful series of dance parties called El Ro in their native Spain. The idea was simple: treat adults like children and bring nonsensical joy to the house and techno scene. Sounds like fun. In 2016, their vision expanded to the U.S., luring 800 attendees to a club in NYC. Today, El Ro has expanded to a residency in New York's Avant Gardner with a handful of one-off events in Miami, attracting about 5,000 partiers each time it opens its doors. Now El Ro expands again with its first North American tour, with planned stops in NYC, Miami, Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Montreal this March through May. All good El Ro parties have a theme, and the tour will take its visual cues from 1950s sci-fi. If you missed out on the My Chemical Romance reunion show in LA on December 20th, don't fret, you're in luck. The band is going on tour in the U.S., kicking things off with a show September 9th in Detroit and ending October 11th in Las Vegas. It will be the group's first tour of the States in 9 years. Now let's talk the top 10 songs played in the United States according to Apple Music. Roddy Ricch's The Box is still number one. It's been number one for as long as I've been reporting this. And that new Future featuring Drake, Life is Good, has been sitting number 2 for a couple weeks. Number 3, Roddy Ricch, High Fashion. Eminem has been at number 4 spot with Godzilla featuring the late Juice WRLD since his album dropped. Number 5, Lil Baby, Something to Prove. Number 6, Mustard Ballin' featuring Roddy Ricch. Number 7 is that new Meek Mill featuring Roddy Ricch, Letter to Nipsey. Number 8, Jack Boys Out West featuring Young Thug. Number 9, Roddy Ricch, Start With Me featuring Gunna. Number 10, DaBaby slides in and out of this top 10 every week, but he is back with Bop at number 10. So now let's compare that to the top 10 songs played globally according to Apple Music. Roddy Ricch, The Box, sits number 1 in the U.S. and globally still. Future and Drake are number 2, like in the U.S. still. Eminem has spot number 3 with Godzilla. Number 4, Roddy Ricch, High Fashion. Mac Miller was number 5 last week, but this week he is no longer in the top 10. The number 5 spot is now occupied by Tones and I, Dance Monkey. Number 6, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights, has climbed up into the top 10. And number 7, Justin Bieber is back in the top 10 with Yummy. Number 8, Billie Eilish, Everything I Wanted. I think that Grammys win pushed her up into this top 10 globally. Number 9, Lil Baby, Something to Prove. And number 10, Mustard Ballin'. Now, what have I been jamming? So I did a road trip last week. I went to Yosemite. So it was a cool distance. So I got to spend some time with Eminem's Music to Be Murdered By. My standouts are Accommodating, After the Week feature from Young M.A. I'm sorry, I wasn't feeling that feature. To me, the track starts when that feature ends. So as soon as M jumps on the track, that's when I like it. So Those Kind of Nights featuring Ed Sheeran, Godzilla with Juice WRLD, and Leaving Heaven with Skylar Grey. Overall, in my opinion, it's a decent album. It didn't play like a concept album. Apparently, it was supposed to be an album about gun control, but Darkness, from what I heard, seemed to be the only track that addressed gun violence. I used to be a huge fan, but honestly, none of his releases in the last decade have captured my attention like his early projects, Slim Shady and Marshall Mathers did. I enjoyed Halsey's Manic. I never listened to a project from her before, but that's the glory of road trips, right? You have all the time in the world. So I was really digging that Clementine track. The Bad Boys for Life soundtrack was fun. Something to Get Dressed to, Get Pumped to. Meek Mill's Uptown 2 and City Girls' Money Fight were my standouts. I was pleasantly surprised to hear the Black Eyed Peas on the album. Christian hip-hop albums, Jared Sanders' Hope is Dope 2. That album slapped. I actually enjoyed it the most during my road trip. I would give it 4 out of 4 stars. That cadence in All I Know featuring Phil J was so sick. My throwback song is I Get Up by Half Mile Harvest. The track is actually from 2018, so it's not that old, but my cousin sent me the track while I was on the road trip, and it bumped. It's an alternative group from Australia, and the singer's voice reminded me of Joe Cocker, which then led me to re-listen to Joe's 1969 with a little help from my friends. So I guess then really my throwback track would be A Little Help from My Friends, because that would be like the oldest one, and listening to that Half Mile Harvest just led me right back to Joe. So, but that is such a classic, and man, the soul in Joe's voice is just insane. It blows my mind like how much soul these like British singers have. And Joe, I mean, that was 69 when that album came out. So the Brits have been producing some soul for ages now. I'm trying to expand my dance music, my EDM palette, and so that Halsey's Graveyard remix by Axwell and Artie is fun. If you have a recommendation for me when it comes to EDM or really just anything, hit me up on Twitter at GSMC_music. When we return, we will get into some music history with Aerosmith.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. It's time for some music history. In 1970, the first incarnation of Aerosmith was formed when vocalist Steven Tyler met guitarist Joe Perry while working at an ice cream parlor. Tyler, who originally was a drummer, and Perry decided to form a power trio with bassist Tom Hamilton. The group soon expanded to a quartet, adding a second guitarist called Ray Tabano. He was quickly replaced by Brad Whitford, a former member of Earth, Inc. With the addition of drummer Joey Kramer, Tyler became the full-time lead singer by the end of the year. Aerosmith relocated to Boston at the end of 1970. After playing clubs in the Massachusetts and New York areas for 2 years, the group landed a record contract with Columbia Records in 1972. Aerosmith's self-titled debut album was released in the fall of 1973, climbing to number 166. Dream On was released as the first single, and it was a minor hit, reaching number 59. For the next year, the band built a fan base by touring America, supporting other diverse groups like The Kinks, Sha Na Na, and Mott the Hoople. The performances of Get Your Wings in 1974, the group's second album, benefited from their constant touring, spending a total of 86 weeks on the chart. Aerosmith's third record, 1975's Toys in the Attic, was their breakthrough album both commercially and artistically. Sweet Emotion, the first single from Toys in the Attic, broke into the top 40 in the summer of 1975, with the album reaching number 11 shortly afterward. Its success prompted the re-release of the power ballad Dream On, which shot into the top 10 in the early 1976. Both Aerosmith and Get Your Wings climbed back up the charts in the wake of Toys in the Attic. Walk This Way, the final single from Toys in the Attic, was released around the time of the group's new 1976 album, Rocks. Although it didn't feature a top 10 hit like Walk This Way, Rocks went platinum quickly, peaking at number 3. In early 1977, Aerosmith took a break and prepared material for their fifth album. Released late in 1977, Draw the Line was another hit, climbing to number 11 on the U.S. charts, but it showed signs of exhaustion. In addition to another tour in 1978, the band appeared in the movie Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, performing Come Together, which eventually became a number 23 hit. Live, Bootleg, appeared late in 1978 and became another success, reaching number 13. Aerosmith recorded Night in the Ruts in 1979, releasing the record at the end of the year. By the time of its release, Joe Perry had left the band to form the Joe Perry Project. Night in the Ruts performed respectably, climbing to number 14 and going gold. Yet, it was the least successful Aerosmith record to date. Brad Whitford left the group in the early 1980s, forming the Whitford St. Holmes Band. As Aerosmith regrouped with new guitarist Jimmy Crespo and Rick DeFay, the band released Aerosmith's Greatest Hits in late 1980. The record would eventually sell over 6 million copies. The new lineup of Aerosmith released Rock in a Hard Place in 1982, peaking at number 32. It failed to match the performance of Night in the Ruts. Perry and Whitford returned to the band in 1984, and the group began a reunion tour dubbed Back in the Saddle. Early in the tour, Tyler collapsed on stage, offering proof that the band members had not conquered their notorious drug and alcohol addictions. The following year, Aerosmith released Done with Mirrors, the original lineup's first record since 1979 and their first for Geffen Records. Although it didn't perform as well as Rock in a Hard Place, the album showed that the band was revitalized. After the release of Done with Mirrors, Tyler and Perry completed rehabilitation programs. In 1986, the pair appeared on Run DMC's cover of Walk This Way, along with appearing in the video. Walk This Way became a hit, reaching number 4 and receiving saturation airplay on MTV. Walk This Way set the stage for the band's full-scale comeback effort, Permanent Vacation in 1987. It contained the hits Dude Looks Like a Lady, Ragdoll, and Angel. Permanent Vacation peaked at number 11 and sold over 3 million copies. While Aerosmith was at the height of their revitalized popularity in the early 90s, the group signed a lucrative multi-million-dollar contract with Columbia Records. Even though they still owed Geffen 2 albums, it wasn't until 1995 that the band was able to begin working on their first record under the new contract, nearly 5 years after the contract was signed. In 2011, the group performed at the Super Bowl halftime. A world tour followed in 2007, and the group attempted to record a new studio album with producer Brendan O'Brien. But the sessions were never finalized. Instead, another tour followed in 2009, this time supporting Jaunt for Aerosmith's own special edition of Guitar Hero video game. This tour proved to be ill-fated, with Steven Tyler suffering a leg injury in June, then falling off the stage in August, leading to the cancellation of the subsequent dates. Before Tyler embarked on solo projects, he returned to the band for a series of concerts in 2010, in the midst of which it was announced that the singer would be a new judge on the televised singing competition American Idol. Perry voiced his dissatisfaction in the press, but Tyler's time on American Idol helped raise the band's profile, while providing a platform for Tyler's memoir, Does the Noise in My Head Bother You? The book performed better than his 2 solo singles, 2010's Love Lives and 2011's It Feels So Good. Those singles did not wind up signaling his departure from Aerosmith. Tyler continued to tour with the band, and in 2011 they recorded a new album, originally scheduled for release in summer 2012. Music from Another Dimension wound up being pushed back to that year's holiday season in 2012, by which time Tyler had departed his judgeship on American Idol. In 2020, the band was recognized at the annual Music Cares Person of the Year Gala and performed this past Sunday at the 62nd Grammy Awards, and the band has a Las Vegas residency. Now, that wraps up our show. We have run out of time. I definitely appreciate you guys for listening. As always, if you like what you hear, please subscribe to our podcast and write a review. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.